Hello and welcome to DOS Nostalgia. I'm Anatoly and I invite you to the wonderful world of MS-DOS gaming. Mortal Kombat. What can I say about it that haven't been said before? Probably nothing. This hyper-violent arcade fighting game featuring digitized people was popular enough to warrant film adaptations, TV, web and animated series, and a great deal of merchandise, including a great snippet of the 90s known as Mortal Kombat, the album. Of course, a series of games this massively successful was ported to just about everything, appropriate hardware or not. MS-DOS wasn't an exception, so how exactly did these conversions fare? Let's take a quick look at DOS ports. I have to say that I'm not a Mortal Kombat expert by any stretch, so I'm not going to do any in-depth comparisons. I'm sure there are plenty of places online where you can find such things. DOS release of Mortal Kombat arrived in 1993, and although graphically it was superior to pretty much every other home conversion, it was a bit lacking. Digitized music was replaced with FM synthesized one, and not of the best quality at that. Sound in general wasn't great. The game ran a little slower than its arcade counterpart and had occasional bugs. The original release also had a rather limited support for sound devices. I also feel that the AI in this version was made slightly easier. A year later, an updated version was released that featured better support for sound devices and corrected bugs. A year after that, there was a limited run of Mortal Kombat 1 and 2 on a CD. This version of the first game was pretty much arcade perfect in many ways. Speed and AI were adjusted to match arcade original, and arcade accurate sound and music were implemented, albeit in a slightly lesser quality. DOS release of Mortal Kombat 2 came out in 1994, and while it's a great port as far as gameplay goes, preserving speed and all the quirks of the arcade, I feel that it's the lesser port of all DOS ones because of the scaled-down graphics. Images have been resized and as a result don't look as great as their arcade counterparts. Same goes for the backgrounds. Music once again was replaced by FM synthesis or Roland MIDI, although it sounded a lot better than in the first game. It's a solid port right down to the unforgiving AI, but I think it loses a bit by being graphically inferior. 1995 saw the DOS release of Mortal Kombat 3, the first one in the series to be released in a CD-only format. Because of that, it preserved sound, music and all the other elements of the arcade. In fact, because of the cd-rom streaming, the music is actually of better quality than the arcade. It's also notable that this version included a tournament mode not present in the arcade. Also unique to this home conversion, and for its time, an online network play was possible. Unfortunately, MS-DOS didn't get a version of Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. Instead, we got what many other console owners got at that time: Mortal Kombat Trilogy in 1997. It was as broken as the versions on other consoles, although I can't personally remark on any of the differences as I only briefly played the Nintendo 64 version only once in my life. I'm not a fan of this game, but I'll point out that this version runs in higher resolution than any other DOS Mortal Kombat, 320 by 240 as opposed to 320 by 200. I just have to add that arcade machines actually run in higher resolutions than all of these ports, so in all the DOS conversions, graphics have been slightly resized, characters as well as backgrounds. I personally was never able to notice that until I did direct comparisons myself, except for Mortal Kombat 2. That one just stands out a little bit more, maybe due to it having a bit more vibrant colors. Well, this is it for all the DOS versions of Mortal Kombat. For some reason they still get a pretty bad rap in some circles, and I just can't understand that. Graphically, they were superior to pretty much all contemporary conversions, and all are nearly arcade perfect. All of the DOS versions have at least 5 difficulty settings, but I have never touched them. I can say that the default medium selection is pretty much identical to the AI of the arcade originals. Also, all versions had a controller support if you were lucky enough to own one back in the DOS days. My friends and I always played with a keyboard, which created additional difficulties. Not only because, two of us had to share a keyboard, but also because, depending on the model of the keyboard, only a certain amount of key presses was registered at any one time, resulting in many missed special moves and unfair wins and such, and a lot of arguments. Still, these ports were great fun. I don't think they'll ever get rid of the stigma of being computer ports, but I'm sure those who played them remember them fondly. For the longest time, the CD version of the first game was not seen by many, but now it's included in Mortal Kombat packs sold on Good Old Games, along with 2 DOS versions of the second and third game. So if you're interested in checking these ports out, that's the easiest way of doing it. And this is it for today. Always remember your video game history, and I'll see you again on DOS Nostalgia.